The feeling of rage when someone provokes you is a sign that your brain is working perfectly. That hot flush, the tightening in your chest, the sudden mental blankness. It's a feature, not a bug. By the end of this, you'll understand the precise mechanics of this biological hijack and how to use the system's own rules against it. Because every single time you react, you are handing the provocateur the keys to your own mind, giving them the one thing they truly want: control. And you're likely doing it without even realizing the game being played. This reaction is an echo from a much older world. Your brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, is an ancient piece of hardware. It evolved for a time when a social challenge could mean exile from the tribe. Exile meant death. So your brain learned to treat a threat to your social standing with the same panic as a predator in the bushes. It can't tell the difference between a sarcastic colleague and a saber-toothed tiger. The alarm it sounds is identical. When that alarm is pulled, it bypasses your rational mind entirely. Before you can even form a conscious thought, a chemical cascade has already begun. Adrenaline and cortisol flood your system. Your heart rate climbs. Blood is diverted from your digestive system and rational brain into your limbs, preparing you to fight or flee. This is the amygdala hijack. It's an automatic subconscious process that is faster than thought itself. You don't decide to get angry. Anger is a physiological event that happens to you. The entire sequence, from the provoking comment to your full-blown physical stress response, takes less than a second. This speed is what makes it feel so impossible to control. It feels like you go from 0 to 100 with no space in between. You're trying to use logic to stop a chemical tidal wave that has already been released. It's like trying to reason with a smoke detector that's already screaming. But this ancient, lightning-fast system has a critical vulnerability, and exploiting that vulnerability is the key to taking your control back. The system's vulnerability is time. While the emotional alarm from the amygdala is instant, it takes a few moments for that signal to travel to the prefrontal cortex, the modern, rational part of your brain. There is a tiny gap, a brief window of opportunity between the initial impulse and the full-blown emotional reaction. Your entire battle is won or lost in that space. The goal is to intercept the signal. To do this, you need a circuit breaker, a mental tool that you have prepared in advance, ready to deploy the second you feel that initial spark of anger. The most powerful circuit breaker is a cognitive reframe. The provocateur's power comes from a story you are telling yourself. This person is attacking me. They are disrespecting me. They are threatening my status. This story casts you as the victim and them as the aggressor, which triggers your defensive circuits. You have to change the story instantly. The moment the provocation happens, you consciously switch to a different frame. Instead of, "They are attacking me," you switch to, "I am observing a person who has lost control." Or, "This is a display of their own insecurity." Or even more detached, "This is fascinating. I am watching a predictable pattern of human behavior." This simple shift in perspective does something profound. It moves you from the role of a participant in the drama to the role of an observer. You are no longer on the stage, you are in the audience. An attack can only land if you accept the premise that you are being attacked. By reframing their action as a reflection of their state, their weakness, their strategy, the attack loses its target. It becomes information about them, not an indictment of you. This isn't about positive thinking. It's a tactical maneuver. You are deliberately creating psychological distance. Think of a bomb disposal expert. They don't get angry at the bomb. They don't take it personally. They study it. They observe its mechanics. They see it as a puzzle to be solved, a system to be understood. You must learn to see the provocateur in the same way. Their words are just the ticking mechanism. Your reaction is the detonation. By choosing to observe, you refuse to detonate. But what happens when the provocation is so visceral, so personal, that your body's reaction is too strong to be stopped by a mental trick? What happens when the hijack is already in progress? That's when you need to use a tool that bypasses the mind entirely. When your body is flooded with stress chemicals, thinking your way out is nearly impossible. Your rational brain is effectively offline. Trying to use complex mental strategies at this point is like trying to do calculus during a house fire. You have to speak to the body in its own language. You need a physiological intervention. The fastest and most effective method for this is known as the physiological sigh. It is a breathing pattern that directly and immediately influences your nervous system. Here's the pattern. 2 sharp inhales through the nose, followed by a long, complete exhale through the mouth. The first inhale fills the lungs, but the second, shorter inhale on top of it pops open the tiny air sacs in your lungs called alveoli. When you're stressed, these little sacs tend to collapse. Reinflating them allows your body to offload carbon dioxide more efficiently. This offloading of carbon dioxide in a single breath sends a powerful signal up the vagus nerve directly to your brain, a signal that says, the threat is gone. You can stand down. This is a manual override for your autonomic nervous system. It's a command, not a request. 1 or 2 physiological sighs can halt the chemical cascade and begin to reverse the stress response in seconds. The key is to practice it when you are calm, so it becomes an automatic reflex when you are not. It's a physical tool you can deploy covertly in the middle of a conversation. Nobody even has to know you're doing it. You have now intercepted the signal, mentally and physically. You've created a space. The provocateur is waiting, expecting a reaction. The stage is set for your response. What you do next determines who is actually in control of the room. Your silence after a provocation is often the most powerful response. It's a vacuum. The provocateur has thrown a grenade and is waiting for the explosion. When nothing happens, the silence becomes deeply uncomfortable. For them, they have revealed their intent, their aggression, and you have revealed nothing. You have simply held your ground. This forces them to make the next move. They either have to escalate, revealing even more of their desperation, or they have to back down. In either case, you have forced their hand by doing nothing. But sometimes, silence isn't enough. You need to speak. The goal of your words should be to de-escalate the situation while protecting your boundaries without engaging in the fight they want. One of the most effective techniques for this is called fogging. Fogging involves agreeing with any truth in the provocateur's statement without accepting the insult. It's like being a cloud of fog. A punch goes right through you. If they say, "You're always late for these meetings," a defensive response would be to argue. A fogging response would be, "You're right, I was later than I wanted to be today." You agree with the fact, but you don't accept the implied judgment of you are an irresponsible person. It gives them nothing to push against. Another powerful verbal tool is to label the dynamic. This involves stepping back from the content of the conversation and describing the process. For example, "I can see you're very passionate about this," or "It seems like you're trying to get a reaction from me." This does 2 things. First, it shows them that you see the game they are playing. You are not a pawn. You are a player who understands the board. This can often be enough to make them stop immediately. Second, it shifts the focus from you to them, forcing them to confront their own behavior. The most advanced technique is the curious question. When someone is trying to provoke you, they are operating from a place of emotional certainty. A genuine, calm question can completely short-circuit this. If a colleague is being relentlessly critical of your work in a meeting, you can pause, look at them, and ask calmly, "What outcome are you hoping for with this feedback?" Or, if someone makes a personal insult, you might ask, "Why did you feel the need to say that?" These questions are disarming because they are rational inquiries into an irrational behavior. They force the provocateur to either justify their attack, which is often impossible, or to abandon it. You have moved the frame from a fight to a diagnosis. You are no longer their opponent. You have become their therapist. This isn't just about managing a single encounter. There is a much larger danger at play. The real risk of being around a chronic provocateur isn't that you'll lose your temper once. The real risk is what it does to your brain over time. Every time your amygdala is hijacked, it strengthens that neural pathway. It's like walking the same path in a field of grass. The more you walk it, the deeper the rut becomes, and the harder it is to choose another path. Chronic exposure to provocation trains your brain to be hypervigilant. It recalibrates your threat detection system to be permanently on high alert. You start to anticipate attacks even when there are none. You interpret neutral comments as hostile. You live in a state of low-grade constant defensiveness. Your body is marinated in a slow drip of stress hormones. This state of hypervigilance erodes your well-being, your creativity, and your ability to connect with others. You are living inside a fortress, but the fortress is also a prison. Protecting yourself from provocation isn't just about winning an argument or keeping your cool in a meeting. It is about protecting the fundamental architecture of your own mind. It's about refusing to let someone else's chaos become your own internal weather system. The ultimate goal, then, is to become an inhospitable environment for provocation. Provocateurs are seeking a specific type of energy. They feed on emotional reactions. It validates their worldview and gives them a sense of power. When you consistently fail to provide that reaction, when you meet their aggression with calm observation, you cease to be a source of fuel for them. A fire that is given no oxygen will burn itself out. They will either change their behavior around you, or more likely, they will move on to find an easier target. Your calm is a form of power they cannot comprehend. You are not playing their game anymore. You are playing a different one entirely, with a different set of rules. And you are the only one who knows them. And this same neurological hardening, this process of a single experience becoming a default pathway, explains why it's so difficult to rebuild trust after it's been broken. Your brain has learned a pattern of threat it refuses to forget, which is a different kind of prison entirely.